Welcome to the Stars in the Making with the mission to inspire and frame the future. The star is Brianna Flemings, aka Bree, born in Atlanta and raised between Philadelphia and Newcastle. She is the founder and CEO of Jemsocial, a platform designed to empower creators by providing gigs opportunities and fostering connections within the creative economy. The tech founder emphasizes that with 10,000 users, we have built a thriving community for photographers, DJs, and influencers, and we are continuing to expand. The founder continues, by the time I was 25 years old, I had built a six-figure career and a solid real estate portfolio. But after being laid off, I knew I needed to do something more meaningful. That's when I decided to go all in on Jemsocial. Please help me welcome the founder of Jemsocial. Hey guys, welcome to the Stars in the Making. Today we're doing something a little different from Cambridge. So we're here with the founder of Jemsocial all the way from Houston. I'm so excited. So if you are a founder or entrepreneur, this is definitely for you. She's gonna get all in. Please welcome. Hi.
Hi.
Bree, how you doing?
Good. I'm Bree Flemings. Yes, he's right. I came all the way from Houston. I'm the founder of Jemsocial. We're a creative marketplace where event organizers, business owners, and brands can book creative talent, such as a videographer like this lovely man right here, or even an influencer like yourself, musicians, DJs, and photographers as well.
Wow.
We're like the Airbnb, but for booking creators for your events.
That's amazing. Bree, we're gonna have to get into it.
Dig in.
Now,
That's why I got this wine, man.
That's it. So introduce yourself, like how you started, how this idea came from, the Jemsocial.
Yeah. Well, where do I begin? When I was 16 years old, I got my first turntable as a DJ. Back in Delaware, my mother had bought me a DJ set for Christmas, and I was able to DJ at her nonprofit just to get started. I was able to mentor from the top DJs, radio DJs out in Philly. And as I got older, because I came from a small town, and at some point I did live in Philly, my dad, rest in peace to him, he had a home in Philly, so I would go back and forth from Delaware to Philly to DJ, but I was known up there. And then I moved down to Miami. I wasn't known, which means no gigs.
Right.
I had no real way of sourcing gig opportunities. And I also had no real way of being able to find creative connections because I was in college. I was so consumed with school, and we didn't really have like a LinkedIn for creators, right? So that's when I started thinking about Gem. Now, thoughts are just thoughts until you execute, as you know. So that was just a thought in college. Then I graduated, and I started working for a digital marketing agency, and I saw the growth of influencer marketing. And I actually was in charge for booking influencers for brand projects. And I noticed, wow, this is a thing. You know, influencers can get booked now. You still need to book DJs for some events. You still need to book photographers. Like, I see the need in it, but everything was word of mouth. And I was like, there's got to be a way to kind of facilitate these transactions. And there's also got to be a way for people to connect. Yeah. But there was none. My competitors don't have a platform where you have that connectivity and community in it. It just, it doesn't really exist the way that Gem is executing it. Right. So now we're in 2019 when I thought about that, and I started writing down some notes. I started writing down some requirements, and I kept seeing the creator economy mature, and then I finally made the move in 2022. I was on my way to New York. I was frustrated because I had hit up 4 photographers. None of them got back to me. Oh, wow. And I was like, dang, I'm heading to New York. I'm not going to be able to get any content. At this point, like, I'm frustrated. And here I find myself yet again in a space where I need to book somebody, and I can't readily find someone on the go. Wow. So I said, enough's enough. It's time for me to start building at least an MVP. So with $800, I built a minimal viable product, which in the product world, that's just like an initial concept of the app. I got it out to our wait list of 500 users. I got feedback from them. And then I got into a pre-accelerator called Venture Miami, and they taught me how to pivot, get customer feedback, and just really get product market fit, because we weren't there. And for people that are listening are like, what is product market fit? Product market fit is when your product actually meets the market and is actually usable to, for people to really use on a, on a, not a daily basis, but at least usable enough where they'll say, hey, I can rely on this platform, right? So we reached product market fit in 2023, and then it's been ridden ever since, honestly.
Wow. It's amazing. Talk to us about what are the challenges into starting an app. I think we have to dig down into that. Yes, because it's not easy.
It's not easy, and I want to make sure that I'm super clear that making an app is hard, but it's not as hard as it used to be. Yeah. So let me start with the first thing that I did. First things first, I would say find a co-founder. 100% you need, not need, but I would recommend that you find a co-founder, because to have all of that fall on yourself is very, very hard. My co-founder actually lives here in Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
He's a couple hours away in Northampton. Oh. And I actually found him online on this this place called Indie Hackers, which is like a very techie forum. Yeah. Told him what I was looking for, and he loved it because he's a photographer as well. And the first thing you want to do is find a way to minimalize these costs. Back then, people were spending like $15,000, $20,000 just on an initial concept, and like I told you, I started with $800. But what can be tough is like the bug issues. Finding a reliable developer. There's no code out here, but even so, you still need to know how to operate a no code app, right? So no matter if you get go with no code to build a platform, or you go with a custom development, you still need a reliable source to make sure that when bugs appear or when issues appear, performance issues, for example, that you have a reliable resource to handle that. My co-founder, Peter, he handles that side of the platform. I handle the product side. I handle the customer side.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, but that can be frustrating too, because there's times, people are going to tell you, hey, I don't like your product. It's crappy. Maybe, and then someone else might say they love it. So you have to remove your ego when you're a founder, because you're going to hear things you don't want to hear. As you can see, I'm a Black woman as well. Don't mind that I'm beige. It's the snow, but I'm a Black woman, and we are the least funded people in the world. Okay,
that's right.
So getting venture funding is incredibly tough. So you need to be creative, no matter who you are. I don't care if you're a white man on the couch right now that's looking at this. You cannot rely on funding. You need to bootstrap so you can, and that means you need to be creative. You have to really think as an operator, like, okay, how can I operate this side of the business? How can I increase our sales initiatives? How can I increase our social media initiatives? How can I increase our customer service experience, our product experience? You have to wear multiple hats when you're starting off, even if you have a co-founder. That's right. Which is why you should have a co-founder, so you could delegate better. Another thing I would say is that if you have a personal life, it's going to change. It is absolutely going to change if you want to be successful. So if you guys don't want to give up the clubbing and spending money on crap, I don't know if I could cuss on here, but
of course.
Okay, on bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I used to spend some money on bullshit because I had the money to do so. I was making 6 figures. I was owning 5 properties at the time. I was doing whatever the hell I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? But when I stepped into this world, I had to downsize my life, because now I'm a full-time entrepreneur in this space. And what does that mean? I left my job. I didn't go back into consulting.
That's
I'm 100%.
I want to get into that.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do, though.
That's a tough thing to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't have stomach for that,
no,
you're not going to make it.
No.
Like leaving your full-time job.
Yeah.
And go on your way. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
So yeah, like full transparency, I was making around $130,000 a year. And on the side, I also have 2 Airbnbs, and I own 2 other duplexes in Cleveland, Ohio.
I'm coming on real estate. Let's get it.
Yeah. So I had disposable income, and I'm young, So for me, of course, the number one thing I wanted to do was have fun, but none of that mattered if I was getting paid to do something I don't love to do. My purpose wasn't fulfilled. I knew I wanted to do Gem, and I knew I wanted to execute Gem. But I knew that if I really was going to execute the way I needed to go full time. Funny enough, in June, I was laid off. The company that I was working for, I can't remember if they were going bankrupt or something, but they had mass layoffs. And for what reason, didn't matter to me. I got paid out for a good amount of the summer, so I was cool. And I started interviewing with other big companies like Snowflake, Tableau. Like there was a lot of big tech firms that were interested in having me. But for some reason, something odd kept happening, whether it was a hiring freeze or this or that. And I was in the range of then making 160 to 180. And I finally just took a step back and was like, maybe this isn't what I need to be doing. Maybe I should put some time into working on Gem. So the whole month of July, I set up a routine where I stopped going for the tech jobs and I started going for the tech investors. I switched my mindset. I was like, you know what? If I spend the same amount of time looking for a new job by spending the same amount of time connecting with investors, angels, and building the platform more, let's see what happens. Anyways, like I had just got a $120K check written to me. Then they had me fly out to New York City and DC. That was the beginning of me stepping into me becoming a full-time entrepreneur. Now I'm around other founders. Yeah. I'm around other angel investors. I'm around other billionaires now. And this is a different game. See, when you're working and you're around these people, it doesn't hit the same. Because at the end of the day, yes, you could become a millionaire while working a 9 to 5. I don't discredit that. But this is something different. And now I'm a boss. Now I got to run my life a certain way, which means I need to act a certain way. I need to brand myself a certain way and portray myself differently than I was when I was just working a 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. That is what people don't have a lot of stomach for. People don't have the stomach to get back into a little bit of a survival mode, but also having that grit, you know, those 12-hour days, sometimes 16-hour days, losing sleep, like being on flight to flight. You know, as you guys know, I'm here for just a day.
That's right.
You know, people have to understand the grit that goes into being a founder.
Talking about having that grit, right? As a founder, you know, on social media, I talk about this quite a lot. And social media, you see all this glamour and all that stuff. People showing like, you know, I just did this, did that. Yeah. But actually behind the scenes, there is a lot that goes behind the scenes. Lot. You have to save up and all that stuff. It's not the easiest way. So 9 to 5. Some people think that going on your way is easier than stay on a 9 to 5.
Absolutely not.
Talk to us about the challenges on that.
Right. No, it's absolutely not, because at least in a 9 to 5, generally, you know, this market sucks. So I'm saying generally for a reason, but when you have a 9 to 5, you know you have this consistent paycheck coming every 2 weeks, or weekly or monthly, however you set up your arrangement with HR.
So how was your transition coming from this job that you got let off and then going to Jemsocial?
I think the transition for me was different than most entrepreneurs, especially myself.
Yeah, because I can see your mind.
My mindset,
your mindset is just different. It's a whole different level.
My life is just different. You know what I'm saying? Like, luckily, when I was working at 9 to 5, I purchased real estate. So for me, like, it's not as hard as most people because I have the resources and the support for myself. Not everybody has that, so I can't speak on everybody else. But for me, I ended up selling one of my properties so I can make sure I'm giving myself a salary that I'm comfortable with. On top of that, I moved out of one of my places and I moved back in with my mom. So I downsized most of my expenses. So for me, I make more money than my expenses are. I still make at least almost triple what my expenses are, which is not that different from when I was in a 9 to 5. I made 5 times as much as my expenses before. Now I'm down to 3 times, and that's for the year. So for me, I have the mindset that I only have a year to get this right. I have a year to get this right. As in when you're in a 9 to 5, most people try to stay at their job for at least 2 to 3 years before they bounce to another.
You gotta go beast mode.
I gotta go beast mode. Now they're calling this founder mode. I don't wake up the same, you know. Like I wake up and I'm like, I gotta get to it. Like there is no BS. That's why I said my time management is impeccable, because every minute I'm spending needs to be spent on my platform. Back then, I was waking up from my 9 to 5, you know, a little lazy, like still in my pajamas, working remote, flowing through the day. Like you don't admire time as much when you're working. I mean, it depends on what you do, really. But at the role I had, I could do that stuff in my sleep. But now where I'm at, this is all new to me, which means I have to be up. I have to keep learning. I have to be quiet too and listen to others that are, you know, honestly way smarter than me and be advised and such. So this is just, I won't say that it's as hard as some others. There are some others that don't have the resources that I have. There's some others who don't have a property in Miami that they could just sell. You know what I'm saying? Luckily for me, I set myself up when I was 25 with real estate back then.
Yeah, talk to us about it. How do you get into real estate?
I bought my first house because I did not want to keep paying rent. I was paying only $17 for my one bedroom in downtown, and then the next year they said your rent's going to go up $600, and I was like, $600? I'm not paying $2,300 here. I don't even have a dining room. So I went and bought my house because I was able to get something almost triple the size of that place for the same price as a mortgage. And I knew that if I invested in South Florida, I was going to have equity to follow that. I unexpectedly, a year later, my dad passed away, and I had, I wouldn't say all the way unexpected. He ended up getting diagnosed with cancer, but it wasn't expected that he was going to pass so soon. Wow. So for me, considering that I knew he was going to move to Miami at some point, my mom was already down in Fort Lauderdale. I felt like, well, if he's not going to be there, I started losing the hope of even wanting to stay in Florida because I always wanted some family around. My mom told me that she was going to take on a promotion in Houston, and I decided, you know what, this might be a good time for me to leave this place, rent it out, let the equity still grow, stay with her until I got a place out in Houston, which I did. I ended up buying the duplex. But then I still was kind of feeling like, I like where my mom just bought this house. I love the suburbs. I bought a place in the city. I'm not a city girl no more. So we just decided, you know what, let me kick it with you. Let me rent out these properties as well. And I actually still had another like 25K living, sitting around. And I was like, I got to invest this because I thought that was going to be money spent on like my furniture and fixing up the house or whatever it may be, but that's not what happened. So I ended up buying some more property. So just to be very transparent, I've been saving money since I was 16 years old. Wow. As you guys know, I was a DJ since I was 16 years old. I was 16 making $500-$600 a gig.
That's right.
So I've been
DJ.
I've been saved money. Yeah.
Yeah, you were DJ. Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. Wow. You said at 16?
16 years old, and I knew how to manage my finances because I already attended financial classes since I was 12.
Wow.
So I already knew how important it was to save a percentage of your income, put money away, give yourself a little allowance. I still to this day only give myself an allowance.
Wow.
I give myself a small allowance.
Is that a personal thing or you got that from your parents?
Oh, my parents, no, absolutely not. My parents, I didn't grow up with parents that really knew how to manage their finances. That's actually why they made me learn how to manage mine. So it came from just school. Like my middle school literally taught us how to manage our finances. Okay. And then in high school, I went out on my own just learning more about finances because even though I didn't grow up like wealthy, I didn't grow up poor either. I knew I wasn't better. That's what I did know. And I hung around some friends that had really like wealthy parents and stuff, and they would tell me what they did. And it kind of reminded me of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have a poor parents, but when you think about mindset, a lot of us are doing things backwards. We're spending more in expenses by the jobs that we make, but we're not living off of our investments. That's what I learned, and that's why I got into investing early. I did my first investment when I was 18 years old in stocks. Damn. And from there on, like that portfolio grew, plus the savings account that I grew as well. And I just kept going from there. So for me, like I said, I've really been moving different since I was a kid.
Oh my. Yeah, your mindset's so different. Like, especially when we were talking about, you say, hey, Ricardo, I'm coming to Boston. I was like, okay, is she serious or she's playing around? And you actually did it. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, she's really in a whole different level. She doesn't play around. Wow, it's really amazing. So now, let's talk about the features.
Yeah.
On.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Jemsocial.
Yeah. So when we got the investment in this summer, the first thing that I had to tell them was what is this money going to go to? The use of funds is really the term. So where are you going to use these funds? And I told them I'm going to allocate at least $8,000 into building out the rest of the product. So currently, when you're on Gem, you're able to match with other creators. Like, so let's say I'm registered as a DJ and an influencer on there. And let's say I want to match with a videographer. Like, you're able to do that. I can send him a like, just like you're on Tinder or Hinge or anything like that. he'll receive the like, he'll see that I want to connect with him. Once we match, we can start messaging and discuss some projects or collaboration.
Wow, that's amazing.
Exactly. On the other side, there's a gig board. It's kind of like a job board, but it's just for short-term gigs. So like, let's say you wanted another behind-the-scenes videographer capturing this. You can post a gig, you can put your budget and the criteria, and people will apply directly to work with you. That's currently existing. But what I told the investors is what I want us to do is become a full marketplace where it's so easy to book a creator that it's like booking an Airbnb or booking a Peerspace or booking a car off of Turo. That is the market that we're going to go in. That is how our platform is about to look in the next 3 weeks. So we're launching that in 3 weeks where people...
In 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Wow.
So every creator on the platform can list their services, their deliverables that come with it, their pricing, a little bio about themselves, and their portfolio, and they'll be featured on our marketplace. So when I come to Boston, I could put in Boston. I could select photographers, because next time me and you connect, maybe we should have a behind-the-scenes photographer snapping stuff while he's doing that.
Oh,
that's how easy it's going to be to book somebody in minutes. And so that whole word of mouth thing, like, hey, do you know someone that knows someone? And then you got to wait an hour or two for them to possibly get back to you. And then you got to wait another hour or two to see what their prices are and their portfolio. Bullshit. I'm tired of that. Right. Booking someone talented should be as fast as booking an Airbnb. It's just that simple. It's 2024. We have got to get out of this word of mouth thing, because another thing is, how are you and him protected on the platform, right? As a seller, which is the creator,
I wanted to talk about the protection.
Important.
That should be. It's very important. Let's listen to that.
That's very important because I had booked someone. This is pre-Gem. I had booked a videographer to fly down with me to I'm not even going to say where, but I booked them, paid them as well to fly with me somewhere to shoot content. To this day, I never got the content, and to this day, I never got my money back because it was sent through Zelle. Okay, as you know, sometimes if you send something through Zelle, you might as well consider it gone, because they feel like, because you have to accept something where it basically says you trusted that person, and it's very hard to get that money back. Yeah. If that would have happened through Gem, you would have got your money back. They didn't deliver what they were supposed to do, and because of that, that makes the seller untrusted. They're likely to get kicked off the platform. You got your money back. But in real life, even if you focus on, if you lean on people that you think you don't know them until you work with them. That's just how it is.
That's true.
So, but on the other side of it, let's say that I booked somebody for something and my flight got canceled, and that same day I canceled on that person. I'm entitled to owe them a deposit for their time. And that's fair, because now they might have took off a day from booking a gig because they expected to be here doing what they needed to do, and because of something else leading up to it, I just canceled that, and I made them lose out on money. They're entitled to a percentage of their earnings, and that's fair. So, fair enough. So that to me is a big thing. On top of the fact, two other things that are coming onto our platform, one of them is already established, is we know that healthcare is a really big issue in America. It's even bigger for freelancers. When you don't work for a full-time job, you don't have those benefits of getting part of your health insurance paid for, if not all of it. So on our platform, we're partnered with HealthBird, so that way we can get freelancers health insurance as low as $13 a month.
Oh, wow.
This is with United Healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, like these are reputable companies that actually have packages for people like freelancers and business owners that we just don't know about. And what's even better is there is no middleman process. You don't have to be on the phone for hours and trying to figure it all out by yourself. It only takes 10 minutes to enroll, and you're good. And open enrollment is next month for health insurance. So we're rolling that out as well. And the last feature that we're going to be putting out is that for those who, as I told you about, since a kid, I've been saving because I knew how to save. I knew how to put money in an IRA and et cetera. But not a lot of people have that luxury. In 2025, we're going to roll out IRA plans where Gem puts a percentage of your earnings into an IRA, and hopefully one of our partners puts in another 2%, and the creator can choose what percentage they want to put in. The goal is for every creator to be able to have 7% of their income into their retirement account.
Wow, that's amazing.
No platform has that. So we're looking out for you to get more gigs. We're building your wealth. We're taking care of your wellness as well. And we're helping you plan for retirement, because let's be honest, someone's going to be 72 one day and they're not going to have the energy to be working.
Of course.
But because they have to, though, they might do it, and that's terrible. That's a terrible way to live.
So, I mean, you already explained that. So that is the uniqueness. Talk to us about the uniqueness on this. I mean, you already explained that into details. It's pretty clear, but talk to us a little bit more. What differ you from other apps out there?
Right.
And
your
platform.
So some of our competitors would be like Backstage, which is that platform where like a lot of actors can find gigs. UGC creators I see can find gigs, models. But Backstage and Backstage, let's start with them. They don't facilitate transactions. I also have had experience on Backstage where I got booked for something, and then the day of the shoot, I got no information, which means I did not get paid, which means I wasted my time. This is exactly why Gem is so important, because we can facilitate all that. Our customer service, you'll be able to go to the resolution center on our platform and say, basically someone, didn't get back to me this day. I was booked this day. I was supposed to be paid $150, whatever it may be. We can reach out to the person, see what happened. If they, once it's confirmed that there was basically like a no call, no show, your money will be transacted, because the moment you get booked through the platform, your money is held in escrow. So that's number one. So we're making sure you get paid, and we're making sure that you're good to go for your gig opportunity. Another thing is, none of these platforms, whether it's Backstage, Upwork, Fiverr, Bark, The Bash, like those are our main competitors. None of them are only focused on the photographers, the videographers, the DJs, the musical performers, the influencers. That we only focus on 5 categories. And that's our domain. We're really big on making sure we get you quality gigs, that we making sure that we have quality creators on our platform. It's quality over quantity for us, like making sure that you guys are good to go and we're building y'all future.
Wow.
For the rest of those platforms, the Bark has you can book a DJ on there, and the same day you can book an electrician. Like it's so many different markets on there that they can't pour into that space dedicated, right? We're dedicated to the creator economy, as in they're dedicated to just the more money the more categories we have, the more money. And that's not exactly the mission that we're going for. Our mission is to focus in on this because the money will come. Alongside of that, they don't have benefits. They're all just 1099 contractors through there, paying their own taxes and stuff. We will help you through all of that. We have tax experts. We have accountants. You're going to have an IRA plan soon. Yeah. You get health insurance. What other platform is looking out for creators the way Jemsocial is?
Jemsocial is the thing. It's the next big thing. Yes. Really, I really love this platform. Let's go into, I love when you talk about, I'm going to go back to the capital venture a little bit more.
Venture capital.
Yeah, exactly, venture capital. I think there is a lot of entrepreneurs or startups, I would say, right? That they feel some type of way. It's okay, because you were talking about, I saw a post that you put out there on Instagram, on social media, let's say that, where Black women are not so, they don't have as much help.
No.
And how do you deal with that? Because you said on that post, rather than you feeling sorry for yourself, I'm not going to have help and all that stuff, I'm going to let you talk about it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. That actually gives me the fire to do what I do. I don't wake up ever feeling sorry for myself that I'm a Black queer woman. You know what I'm saying? I feel actually excited, because that means that I'm going to make my mark in this world. For me, the people that are what I would look at as role models are the people that stood out. The people who really went against the grit and said, who cares if I'm this, or who cares if I'm that? I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done.
I love that.
And I did get it done over the summer. Like I said, I went from laid off to venture backed in the matter of a few weeks. So there's funding that is out here that exists for you. You just got to find it. You just got to really take the time. I mean, I was spending hours and hours and hours at coffee shops, just genuinely looking for the exact venture fund that focuses on this. And I actually got referred to one, because I kept looking. And when you keep looking for something, you're going to find it, And But I will say that does it frustrate me? Absolutely. Absolutely, it frustrates me that I can have the same idea as a white man and I can present it and I will get turned down.
Yeah.
But someone else can present it, especially if you're a white man, and to be fair, even a black man, will get more funding than me. They can say the same exact idea and they're likely to get way more funding than I am. But this is where I don't feel bad for myself. You can get the funding, but are you going to execute it like me? Because my execution is different. Like you said, oh my God, I wonder if Bree's really going to show up. Look at where we're at now.
You did show
up. A lot of people don't do this.
No, not at all.
There's people with a $1.6 million in funding and they won't pull up to Boston just because they're like, I got other things to do. I got plenty of time to do whatever I need to do to get Jem out there because I want Jem to be known all around the world, which means if someone in Africa right now calls me to do a podcast in Ghana, guess who's going to figure out a way to get out there in 2025? So my execution is different. I'm built different. So that's why I'm like, I don't feel bad about it, but it does frustrate me. But you can't complain about things. You have to make a change. You have to be the change. Yeah. For me, my goal is to have my own venture fund so we can eliminate issues like this. 0.5%, I think now, gets 0.5% of black women get funding, and it might be smaller than that. That's just what I read a few days ago.
Yeah, way smaller.
My goal is to increase that. That's my goal. My goal is to start writing venture checks as soon as next year. Like, because you can write an angel check like $2,000 into a fund, and now you're an investor. The more of us that actually invest in other black women, we're the change. So us as black women can't keep complaining about it if we're not going to be willing to cut the check. That's my thing. Every time I see a black woman complain about it, I'm like, but what are you doing to help?
Nothing. Just complaining.
What are you doing to help?
That's the point.
And that's the point. Because we can all complain. We can all get on the complain train right now. Yeah. But if you're not doing anything to change this,
to help yourself,
shut your mouth.
Exactly.
Because you're just as bad, to be honest. Because everybody has time. If you don't have money, find time to help. Organize a meetup. See if everybody can put $500 right now.
That's right.
Right now into a fund. I did it. I didn't have all the money in the world.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I could organize it and I could teach my friends how to invest in other black women or funds that focus on black and brown women or underrepresented founders, then you can do it because you're complaining about it and you're frustrated. So do it. Cut the check.
I love that. Something that I think most people can't really get over it, or if I can put it that way, and how you deal with failures.
Yep.
Because not most people can really get over that.
Yeah.
So you were talking about failure. Another post that I saw you talking about failure.
I just was chatting.
I did. So how do you deal with failure? Because not everything that we start will succeed. Let's just be honest, like 100%. Straight up. And most of the time we're going to have to deal with failures.
Yes.
So how you deal with that?
I have failed countless times. Like, this isn't my first venture, First of all, my very first venture was me DJing. And I failed so many times. I've had my stuff stolen. I've been kicked out of DJ groups. I've had attitude problems in the past where I was cocky. I failed. I failed really young. I was young and naive. Then I also started a different app when I was in college. I was even in magazines and everything. This is actually not my first app. This is the farthest I went with one.
Oh, wow.
But I actually had an app before, and I did multiple things wrong because I didn't listen. People were trying to guide me away, and I'm like, nah, that don't make sense. And
now I remember why you say take your ego.
Take your ego out of it. You have to take your ego out of it. And as someone who grew up with a lot of ego, that was the hardest thing for me to do, because I think it's the fact of the matter that when you're trying to do something so purposeful and you're a visionary, you don't like to be told what to do because you feel like people don't believe in you. Like, you feel like they're saying something that's negating what you're saying. Someone with a lot of ego is feeling like they don't support me. Like, I'm not listening to them. When the whole time they were trying to have you avoid maybe something that they already went through. Right. So I actually had an event marketplace when I was like 20 years old called Vibes, literally. And basically full circle moment, it's basically what Posh is today. Posh is exactly what I was trying to build back when I was in college in 16-ish.
Yeah.
And they did exactly what they were supposed to do. But the full circle moment is the customers that I would be focusing on when I had that app is somewhat of the same customers that Gem focuses on now. We do essentially help event organizers and brands and campaigns find the talent that they need for their events and their campaigns and projects. So it's all full circle. So what I'll say about failure is that if you fail, let it come full circle. Some way, somehow, it's going to come back. I have a friend that failed in a particular platform that she built, as she would say failed. But now she's raising funding, doing a great job on another platform where she's still servicing the same customer, but she's pivoted a different way into a different platform. And if you guys ever think about it, all of these companies have failed. All these companies have failed countless times.
Yes.
Bankrupt, all types of stuff. Your favorite artists, your favorite musicians, your favorite apps, they have all failed and they just had to pivot. So the same grace that these millionaires and billionaires have, you have to give it to yourself. I'm in my year of grace. I'm truly in a year where I am treating myself kindly. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to fail. The people that work for me, I tell them the same thing. It's okay to fail as long as you learn.
Yeah.
It's not okay to fail and then go keep doing the same thing over and over again. Like, be kind to yourself.
That's right. That's an amazing response. So that means you cannot put all the eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Because there is people that put all the eggs in one basket, and
yeah.
when they fail, they feel like, okay, the world is ending now. I'm done.
Right.
I have nothing. So how do you deal with that?
Because I definitely agree with not putting all your eggs in one basket and being open for change. The world is changing.
That's right.
And you got to change right with it for the better. If I would have stuck with my original idea for Gem would have failed. I would have made the same mistake that I made with Vibes. And to be clear, the mistake I made with Vibes is that, now I think about it, I laugh at it, but Vibes was going to be a platform where you had to have a membership to get into these premier events. But I was focusing on college students, so why would I have them pay? They're broke. Most of the time they're broke. So that's what they were essentially telling me, like, stop, why are you trying to make them pay to use the platform when they're going to be the customers? You can make money through transaction fees. But our platform was not going to have transaction fees. It was just the memberships. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, yeah, Bree, you should have just stuck to the transaction fees because we all are used to it. Yeah. But I didn't know any better. So with Gem, eventually, I only started off with the connecting part. You just all everybody can do on the platform was match with each other. But we wasn't making money. And I was like, what the heck? How come? Like, this is so cool. Why aren't we not making money? And my advisor at the time, Kanasha Paul, I shout out to her for running Venture Miami. That program taught me, and I mean really taught me, to lose my ego and to be open to change and to talk to my customers. What do you want in this platform? How is Jemsocial going to make your life easier as a creator? And as I kept asking them quarterly, monthly, now weekly, what do y'all need? That's how I've been able to build Gem. Gem is not even built off of my ideas anymore. Now the designs and how it works, yes, but the features come from the customers.
Yeah.
Every successful business listens to their customers. So don't put your all eggs in one basket, because I guarantee you're going to have to dump that basket out and try and keep starting over and over and over. And I guarantee what Gem looks like now is not going to look like it going into 2026. It's going to have pivoted and pivoted and pivoted, because we have to keep making sure that the customers are satisfied with the products and that it makes sense. Everything needs to make sense.
Wow. I love this. So now, what is the message that you want to send to someone out there, a startup, or someone who's just lost with ideas?
I would say I was there. Sometimes we know that our purpose is to have or own or something, right? And we start chasing these ideas that we're like, okay, let me throw this at the wall and see if it sticks. So let me throw this at the wall to see if it sticks. But I genuinely want people to know that that idea is going to come to you some way, somehow. And you need to figure out what you're passionate about and what personal experience are you really suffering from. Like, what in your life is really frustrating you that you can iterate on? I was frustrated by the fact that I've been traveling since I was a kid, okay? And as I got older, my frustration was, why can't I connect with people easier, especially in the creative industry? I'm a DJ, I know I'm a fire DJ, but I suck at content, and I just wanted to connect with more content creators. So why wasn't there a platform that just made it easier to connect with someone or book someone? I mean, just something so simple, you know? And we're in this transactional era. And I knew that, you know, people move based off of money. So if people need to see the money coming in so they could link with you, then so be it. If you see that I'm booking you to go take behind the scenes of me, at least you know the money's going to come in. And on my side, at least I know I'm going to get my deliverables. That's where Gem came in, you know what I'm saying? And that's how we got here, because I was frustrated. So think about what you're frustrated in. And another example could be, it doesn't have to be an app. I just told you, so many people are frustrated with Black women not getting money. If you're so damn frustrated, then start your own mini fund.
So that's something, exactly.
You're frustrated. Everyone's frustrated about something.
Yeah.
You could be frustrated about the housing shortage. Okay, so go get a job in the real estate market, you know, maybe in property management, and build from that, and build from that. Build your connections, so then maybe you're the next real estate investor that invests in owning more properties to help with affordable housing, or the shortage, or turning one of these warehouses into one of these buildings here. All of this that we're looking around is because someone was frustrated. So what are you frustrated about, and how are you going to fix it?
Love that. Wow. This is amazing. It's so amazing pod. Now,
So this wine.
Jemsocial. Don't make me laugh. Now, so how many people are working with you now at the moment?
That's a good question. So it's myself, my co-founder. We have 2 developers in Pakistan. We have a community manager in Miami, and then we have a digital marketing intern in Toronto. So that's like the main team. So that's what.
Wow.
We're so around 6 people. I would say like 6 people.
Yeah, that's amazing.
6, that's good.
Wow,
that's good.
That's really good.
It was only 2 last year. So now we grew very well. And I would say by 2025, my goal is for it to be a team of 10. I would like to convert people to full-time. That's my goal.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
So Bree, now I love the Jemsocial.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So when are you launching the Jemsocial in Boston, at least?
Yes.
Or how many cities first?
Yes. Okay, that's a good question.
Yes.
So we launched in Miami. We are going to have a launch event in New York City. And because now that I looked at the map, I now know that Boston's not that far from New York City.
Not at all.
So we're going to launch in Boston at the top of 2025. So for any creators who are interested in the platform, you can register on the platform. Do know that. A few things to be known is that you can register on the platform. When we launch that new feature where you can get directly booked, you do get your own custom profile link. So you can promote yourself, and when you're looking to get booked, or if someone hits you up and it's like, hey, how do I book you? Send your profile link. You can get booked like that. But if you're going to be looking for more of those gig opportunities from like festivals, concerts and stuff, that will be closer to 2025. I would say Q1, between January and March, because we do have connections out here. We do have angels out here, advisors. So we have all the right people, especially now that we have this yourself and a content team too.
Of course.
We have all we need to put together an event and start educating people in Boston. And not for nothing, I'll be connecting with another creative director out here today before my flight. So we're putting everything together. But anywhere in the US, you can register on Gem and start promoting your profile. Just think Linktree. You remember when Linktree came out?
Yeah.
And you had your link, and then you put it in your bio. You could add your Jemsocial link to your Linktree. So people can start booking you. And also, not for nothing, that might alleviate all those extra conversations.
Yeah.
We're busy people. I'm not looking at my phone. I haven't looked at my phone for a good amount of time. So imagine if I'm a photographer and I look at my phone and I just got a booking request.
Yeah.
That alleviates all that extra stuff, because they're going to book the service that you have listed there. And now you know the date of the event or project, the what the project deliverables are, what they're looking for, how much they're going to pay you, and you could just accept or reject it. It's so much simpler to live like that. You could be more on the go. You could book on the go. You can get booked on the go as well, as in rather than having like a hour conversation just to realize, yeah, this project isn't for me, and I just spent an hour talking about something I'm not going to do.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, that's interesting.
This was amazing.
Wow, this was amazing. I thank you so much
of
for
course, man.
coming all the way from, Houston.
Yes, H-Town, baby.
Really amazing. So you want to send a shout out to someone, to your team?
I would say, first of all, I want to give a shout out to the main investor, which is my mother. My mom is the one who invested me first. Not everybody has that relationship to move back in with their parents, but she has made it so seamless. She lets me essentially do what I want, which is really nothing, because I'm getting into my boring era, I would say. But for what our family went through after losing my dad, I want to give a shout out to her, because she is the investor. She is the reason why there is a Jemsocial. Other than that, I will shout out the fund that I'm in that invested $120K, Next Cube. They are being rebranded as Sway Ventures or Sway Capital. They invest in founders who went to HBCUs. I think that's amazing that Black founders that went to HBCUs have a chance to get funding. Like every few months, they have a fund open for them. Wow. So if you are a HBCU student or alumni, hit me up. If you're looking to get a $120K check, I'm happy to pass along a good referral. This is the kind of work that us Black folks need to do to give, and help other people get the resources that they need to build their startup. And other than that, shout out to my best friends, because they pull up every time I have an event. They've been spread the app for me in the cities they're in, whether they're in New York, Pittsburgh, Dallas, Houston,
now you
LA.
have Boston.
Now I got Boston.
That's
This is what it's all about, connecting. So that's my shout outs. I love y'all. And thank y'all for also having me on Stars in the Making.
Of course. Thank you so much for being here. You're such an inspiration.
Thank you, man.
And we really love the, Jemsocial. Thank you
and
again.
Jemsocial loves y'all.
Thank you so much. Love that. All right, guys. We are all set with this podcast.
That was amazing.
Keep believing in yourself. Never, ever give up. We out.